So you opened up Cosmodrome, and now you need to go get your Zikz 605R. This is supposed to be the easy part, right? It's not. And we're going to talk about why, and what has changed. And oh, look at that, he did it, and yes, we are in business. Okay, let's get into it. We have three major hurdles getting to the Zikz 605R. The first one is the rock slide, which is right outside the garage. Then we have the fallen trees, and then finally we have the path to get over to the 605R. Okay, this is important, so hang with me for a minute. I'm using the Tayga 6436, and I'm using the 51-inch MHS3 tires. I tried using the balloon tires for this rock slide challenge, and it didn't work for me, so it's important to mention this is how I did it, so if you have the same equipment, you can do it the exact same way. And just real quick, this is the path to get to the rock slide. There's nothing to it, it's a no-brainer, but just in case you're not aware of what I'm talking about, it's right outside the garage, down this path to the left, and you can see when I recorded this I had already cleared it. Okay, I'm going to show you one of my failed attempts, and then we'll show this successful attempt. I failed many more times than I'm showing you here, and with different tires. Like I had said, I tried the balloon tires on the Tayga. You can probably do this with many different trucks, but the Tayga is probably the best truck that I have, and I'm showing you how to do this with a truck that you might already have versus every video I've seen people were using the Zikz 605R to show the challenge. One thing to note, you're not going to go around this rock slide into the ice like you may have seen in another video, certainly not with the Tayga, and I don't know what truck you would get if not the Zikz 605R. It'll certainly do it because I did it afterwards just to see if that was still true. But you're not going to do it with the Tayga, with any tires that the Tayga has. So, as you've seen with my last attempt that failed, the key is to winch to this telephone pole that's right next to these rocks. They're going to act as a ramp, and the trick is to pull to the left. So when you're winching, get those tires cut to the left. You want it to almost be like you're climbing up those big rocks to the left, because it's going to pull you to the right, and that's how I got stuck on that telephone pole. So when you winch, cut those tires to the left, and then pull yourself up, and you can get right over. And I know you're asking, why did we just bypass it? Well, the rock slide requires metal beams, and if you know from completing Erska River how you're going to get metal beams, you're going to have to take the metal rolls and take them over to the steel mill, get the metal beams, and then take it all the way back. Or you can just complete the fallen trees mission over here, and that'll give you access to get some metal beams from the warehouse. So that's what we're going to do. So now that we're past the rock slide, our next step is to go to the warehouse. It's going to be on your right hand side, just a little ways down the path from where we are now. And just a note, from right where we are right now, do yourself a favor and winch to the telephone pole. I flipped over a few times going through this area before I just got a little smarter and pre-winched over to that pole. You'll see me winching later, but you can see how easy it would be to flip here. And it stinks to have to start over and go over the rock slide again. We're really close to the warehouse, but I'm speeding up this footage right here so you can see the whole path to get there. And our purpose for being at the warehouse is to pick up 2 spare parts for the Fallen Trees mission. Now that we have our spare parts, we're going to head over to the Fallen Trees mission. I've got it marked there. Ignore those last 3 waypoints. You can get over those, or through the river even over there, but that is totally not necessary since we have spare parts. There is nothing noteworthy on this trip, so I've cut it out, and you can see we're just pulling up to the mission right now. We'll complete it here in just a second. Okay, now that we've completed the Fallen Trees mission, we can get to the metal beams. They're located in a village that's a bit of a distance away, so this is a good time to mention that fuel is something you need to be aware of. The Tayga has 330 liters, and at this point I have 250. By the time I completed this mission, I had less than 40 liters, and that's because I realized how low I was. I put the Tayga in high gear, and I just floored it until I made it back to the rock slide mission to complete the mission. So think about your fuel and don't take too many side trips. I'm going to point out a couple things that I did that you may not want to do, and certainly one of them you don't want to do. This warehouse to the left you definitely don't want to go into. There's nothing there, and I spent a little bit of fuel going in to find out I couldn't pick up anything or do anything in here. I'm going to speed up this next part until we get to the watchtower and talk about that a little bit. Okay, this is another part where I spent quite a bit of fuel this time getting the watchtower open. You can see it there just below me. And you may not want to do this right off the bat. Just watch how difficult it is to get through there. It looks like a very quick little... Oh, I'll just open that real fast, but the ice is deep, and it took a bit to get through it. So you can see I went in at 210 liters of fuel, and I came out at 184. So that was a significant expense there of fuel. Okay, now that we're through the watchtower, we're going to head over to the village you can see there on the right and pick up our metal beams. Getting through this section is a bit of work. You'll need to winch yourself through. Stay towards the left hand side where you can keep winching the telephone poles, and you can see why you definitely need a capable truck to get through here with good mud tires. The pickup for the metal beams is in the back. I probably could have taken this left turn and gotten there a lot faster, so you may want to just cut right there instead of going all the way around like I did to pick up the metal beams. Okay, we're picking up our metal beams now, and at this point I'm starting to realize that I'm getting really low on fuel. So I am stopping at everything that looks like fuel trailer, and none of these are fuel. So don't waste your time stopping and checking each one of these. So you know, getting to the village wasn't exactly easy in that last part, and now you're carrying metal beams, so it's going to be that much more difficult. So this time stay to the right hand side and winch a lot. So the way back is exactly like getting here. You need to take the same path that you used to get to the village and take it all the way back to the rock slide, passing the other warehouse. Okay, I've jumped ahead quite a bit, and you remember this little section, right? This is the one I was telling you, make sure you pre-winch to the telephone pole. Well, doing it this time saved me. Watch how close I came to tipping here. And that's pretty much the last challenge to getting the rock slide complete. It's just around the corner here. We'll turn it in. And I had, 49 liters of gas left. Okay, I'm going to spare you the drama of what waits you at the end of this trip to go get the Zikz 605R and just tell you cannot do it the way that we could in the past by skirting along the river's edge and getting over to the Zikz. It has to be done another way, and so what I'm doing right now is taking my Azov 64131 and some fuel down there. I did think that I was going to skirt the river's edge with the Azov, and as it turns out you can't. So the fuel though is pretty important it's vital actually to be down there, so you want to take a fuel truck down there and park it. The trip back to the village has been, as you might imagine, pretty tough with the Azov, but we made it. And instead of going to the village, which is right in front of me, I'm going to take a right-hand turn here and head over to where the Azov is, up at the, I believe it's a church. So you've seen this in other videos where you just cut through the trees right here down to the ice and skirt around to the Zikz 605R. Well, I'm going to show you there's now a huge boulder in the way. You can see it right there in front of us where we can no longer just skirt around. We are going to have to go over the mountain with a scout vehicle. So we're going to park the Azov here and go get a scout vehicle. I have returned with Yar. And the reason why this truck is so vital is I've used quite a bit of fuel to get here, and I'm going to want to put that into the Zikz 605R. So I am going to fuel up from the Azov and then head over to the Zikz. Okay, for full disclosure, I've already made this entire trip once over the mountain to the Zikz 605R, and I'm having to do it a second time because I can't carry enough fuel to do it just once. So I dumped all my fuel into the Zikz. I went all the way back to the garage, recovered, and then brought the Yar back, and now I'm climbing the mountain the second time. This time I'm going to show you exactly how I got over the mountain. It is not intuitive, and I actually gave up on it the first time, tried to go around the mountain, and then came back to this is the only way to really do this, and so this is how I did it. So some of you won't have the Yar, but I feel like you could make this trip with many of the scout vehicles. The real trick is just make sure you get a roof rack or some kind of repair trunk that has 168 repair parts. You'll need to put that in the Zikz, and then you'll also need 380 liters of fuel. I can't carry that in the Yar. Actually, I don't think any of the scout vehicles can, and that's why I had to make 2 trips. But I feel like you could do this with many of the scout vehicles. It doesn't have to be a Yar or the Tuz or anything like that. The trick to getting around this tree stump is to winch to it and then just let your vehicle hang off the edge while you winch and turn in a circle to get back on the path. Okay, we've made it over the mountain. The only thing left to do is to dump the remaining fuel into the Zikz and collect our 605R. Hey guys, this editing for this video, actually just the work to figure out how to do everything, took a tremendous amount of time. So please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It'll really help me out. Alright, we'll talk to you soon.